Hey y'all, it's Addison Ray.
And Sheri.
Welcome to our podcast, Mama Knows Best, a podcast original. Every week we'll explore the touchy subjects of love, dating, relationships, and growing up.
And I always know best.
Or do you? And just a friendly reminder, you can find episodes of Mama Knows Best for free, exclusively on Spotify.
Remember to follow the podcast so you never miss a brand new episode every week.
On today's episode, we're talking about dating. What's good in a date, red flags, and what's changed since Mama was in the game. Let's get into it. Getting a date and what dating means has for sure changed since you were my age. I mean, dating has changed ever since I even started dating a few years ago. Actually, let's be honest here. Okay, I don't really recall very many times that I've ever been asked on a date. I don't think maybe like a few times. Like very casual dates, like to go hiking or, to go to dinner, maybe, but like it's more eating out with friends or like going to shop. Like shopping is a big date, I guess you could say, from like what people have asked me to do. But I've never asked someone specifically on a date with the intentions of it being like a formal date,
So obviously these are going to be harder for me because it's that long ago, harder for me to remember. I would say it was more like just a movie probably and dinner.
I thought you were about to say like it was like a movie, like you got treated like a movie. I was like, wow, can we go back in time? No, but a movie and dinner, like it's pretty casual.
Yeah, I would say.
Average first date, kind of. I mean, I feel like it hasn't changed very much from now, but like I feel like when I was in high school even, so I mean, very recently, it was like movies and eating, like I would do that so much in high school. I remember I'd go out to the movies and watch the new like scary movie or like go, Buffalo Wild Wings or something. That's like was a huge thing for me in high school was to go to like Buffalo Wild Wings or like Panera Bread. I remember I just used to go there and be like, this is so nice. Like this is the nicest dinner for me. And that was like our date. But I don't know. I feel like now when I think of a date, like today, I would say like probably just like hanging out. I think, does that consider a date? Hanging out? Like if I'm like, hey, we should hang tonight.
No.
See, I don't know. I kind of agree to disagree because I feel like that could possibly be a date. If I'm like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And they're like, nothing. What about you? And I'm like, nothing. Let's hang out. And then they're like, yeah, come over. And I'm like, all right, cool. On the way. And then we like watch a movie or we talk or we like get to know each other. That's kind of a date.
That means you've done a lot of dates then.
I mean, I guess so. Wow, I'm just a dating expert here then if we say that. I feel like
that's not a date.
I think it's considered a date.
No.
What is the definition of a date?
I mean, I would think they'd have to put some kind of effort into it.
But what do you think the definition of a date is?
Because in that case, then there would be a ton of people saying they went on a date.
Yeah, and I think that I agree. I've had friends that like go hang out with someone and they consider that like a date. Like it's like what is a date to you? What do you think a date is?
Like you take someone out, have some plans, like do something planned, not just hang out at home.
Okay, so you're saying if in advance someone said, hey, what are you doing Thursday night? Come over, let's hang out. You would not consider that in any way a date, even though that's pre-planned.
Right. I think that it's not considered a date because you're not going out and doing something, going to a restaurant, going to a movie. You don't have anything planned. You're just hanging out at home.
How did you meet Dad?
I met Dad in a restaurant that only serves drinks.
So you guys met at a restaurant that only serves drinks that you have to be over the age of 21 to get, correct?
Correct.
All right. Sounds about right. But like what was you guys' first encounter like? Like you guys met on Christmas Day, right?
Yeah. Well, it was Christmas Eve, but by the time we met, it might have been 1 o'clock.
Probably well past midnight. So I would assume. Were you like interested in him? Like how did he like pursue you? Like you were saying, like you definitely value the man pursuing a woman. Like what?
Yeah.
Did he pursue you?
Yeah. He came up to me. I was at the counter or at the bar area and he asked me for my phone number and I semi-paid attention to him and I said, yeah, sure, whatever. I wrote it down on a napkin. He took it.
Oh, what a cute love story.
I said, okay, nice to meet you. Gotta go.
That sounds so much like you. That's crazy.
Because you can't really talk. It's very loud. There's dancing going on.
Music.
So
I'm sure it was pretty crazy. And
I
then
just went about my business.
yeah, and then he called you or what?
Like 2 days later, he called.
That's so funny. That's so weird. I don't think we've ever like actually talked.
But
I knew you guys met where you met and like when, but I didn't know like anything
Yeah.
past that. That's so funny. He called you.
I didn't really remember giving my number. And I don't think he remembered getting my number.
Interesting.
And he found it in his wallet 2 days later and decided to call.
So you probably didn't even know your name.
Yeah, no.
Wow, what a
Well,
cute
no.
story.
I think I wrote my name down. So he did know it, but only because I wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried like to get on like dating apps.
Oh,
And
gosh.
I mean, I downloaded them for fun and just to like kind of see. I was like, this could be interesting. Like, you never know. I mean, obviously there are people in this world that have met through online
Did
dating
you really?
stuff. Yeah, I did. And like the thing is being on it, I feel like it's like not like I don't think it didn't feel weird like being on it because it was kind of like Instagram in a way. Like,
Right.
when you find someone you think's cute on Instagram, you DM them and it's like
Yeah.
the same thing. I don't know.
Back then, it was kind of like, oh, no, don't do that. But now it's very common. So
Talking about like meeting people online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was more like you had to be more cautious back then because it was so new. But
Yeah.
like now people are very
it was
used to that.
considered dangerous back then.
And I don't know. I didn't have one, obviously, whenever we lived at home because I was in a relationship. But it was kind of just like also something new and fun to try moving here,
Yeah.
I was like, why not? People always say it's interesting. So let me just give it a shot. And hasn't been a bad run with the dating apps. Like, it's not that I've gone on
Although
any
you
dates.
haven't had a date.
That's true. So it's not been very productive for me because I haven't gone on an actual date from a dating app yet. But who knows? You never know. Maybe my soulmate's on a dating app. You never know. Speaking of, dating and just like meeting people, whether that be online or in person or around friends, I think there are obviously so many things that you can, have your eye out for or like know you're looking for. So for me, what kind of like characteristics or like personalities or just people in general that I look for in like a relationship would probably be someone that's like super passionate. I answer that all the time. I think that's like huge for me. It's like if someone really, really loves and enjoys what they do, it's like so attractive. You know what I mean? Like someone that's intensely determined to like get somewhere and have goals and dreams and they like really, really love something, whether that be art, whether that be dance, whether that be music, anything they really love, whether that could be building houses or, handling finance, just as long as someone's passionate about something that's like attractive to me. So like what were things you looked for in a relationship? Like what was kind of like your type?
I would probably say my type was somebody that was funny and made me laugh and had a good heart.
I feel like humor is really big. Like Dad's pretty funny. My dad is pretty funny at times. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is funny. No, but he definitely has like a funny side. Like when we all get into it and like really find something to speak about and like all these jokes are coming out, we can like sit there and cry, like laughing,
Yeah.
But I think like obviously that's like a huge one too for me is like someone that can make me laugh because I love laughing, which is really easy for me to look for, honestly, because I have so many different types of humor that like I can find something that's hilarious no matter who it is,
Has the same interests as you.
Yeah. I mean,
I would think that would be a huge one.
Yeah.
Because it's hard when you don't have the same interests. Because one person wants to do one thing and the other person wants to do a different thing. And you might not like it. They might not like what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So you're going to end up doing those two things apart.
Yeah.
Or with someone else. And
interesting. So like for me, when I look at that and I'm like someone that they're interested in what you like to do. Yeah, they're like okay with that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that does what you do and like that's what they only want to do, because I think that's another part of like growing and becoming a better person is like experiencing different things and getting, to feel what someone else loves to do and not just yourself. And I think that's another part that comes in along with, getting to know someone better, is because you start experiencing different things and like trying new things and kind of just figuring out, because you never know. What if you end up liking those things that they're interested in and you weren't? But like immediately you go, oh, well, you don't like art? Well, then I don't want to pursue this. But like imagine, you like art and they like sports and then you end up liking sports as well, I think that's just kind of a personal thing of mine, just to think. I don't know. That's another thing that comes along with me.
And I guess it's
thinking.
Different being a dating versus a thinking about marriage, because you're not going to be thinking that way. You're not going to be thinking you're going to marry the person. So yeah, it all sounds fun when you're experiencing new things versus when you would be married.
So it's
just a different.
You don't think dating is preparation for like possibly getting married?
Yeah, but again, you would be thinking in a fun state of mind where, yeah, these things are fun to go experience these different things that you don't like. So you're trying them out and they're new. But when actuality, the other person really likes those things and is always going to do those things. And you may just be saying, oh, it's fun for now, but they're not really truly what you're interested in. So you're giving that space up for the other person for that moment.
Yeah, I understand. I get that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Because you're having fun and you're just dating. And
I think it obviously depends if you end up loving it or not, because you could end up loving it and being like, this is great. But if you don't, obviously it's not going to be fun in the long run when you're making yourself do things you just really don't enjoy. Which is a big part of a relationship, is being happy and, making sure it's sustainable and you're able to be yourself. I think people making moves, obviously, that's another characteristic of like, something you look for is someone that's like not afraid to like act or like, just be bold enough to talk to you or anything like that. There's this place that we've gone to every year. And my mom's gone since she was a child, and as
vacation?
Well as, on like a trip, a vacation family trip. And we go to like this dance, and it's like called Garner. It's at Garner State Park, and people will like ask you to dance. And I think that's a thing too, is like you always think you fall in love with the Frio because, people come up to you and ask you to dance. And it's like it's so cool to see someone like not be afraid to do it,
Yeah.
And like even didn't you say like you were like, oh my God, there was this guy when I was young at the Frio that I thought I really, like you were super into, because I don't know, right? Is that kind of like a thing?
Well,
didn't someone get you like a ring when you were a kid or something?
Yes.
I feel like that's a big one for both of us, is like someone that can like not be afraid to express their feelings or like act on, their thoughts and like their emotions towards you. Hand in hand with characteristics you look for in someone, there's kind of things you look for, but on the reverse side. So you're looking for these things that you don't necessarily want, which, are referred to as red flags. So what are your biggest red flags? Like my number one is like being disrespectful, like to anyone. Like I don't care if it's a stranger or you're, anyone. It's obviously like not attractive whenever someone is like very rude. And like fighting with your parents is one thing. Like, I mean, I understand that the most because we definitely argue. But like, I think when you're blatantly disrespectful to someone that you have no relation to, especially, is like a big one. So like if, say someone cut you off in line and then they're like literally attacking that person or like being very disrespectful to them, that's like I mark that, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, if they're okay with being that mean and like disrespectful to someone they don't know, imagine how they'll, eventually treat me.
I agree with that.
I feel like hygiene is pretty important though. Like just brush your teeth or at least get a piece of gum. You can get a piece of gum for sure and figure that out a little bit. No, but I don't know. I think bad breath is like a turnoff. That's not even a red flag. Actually, let's go ahead and just call it a red flag. I just don't like bad breath. We're going to lighten this up a little bit.
But
Bad breath is a red
at the
flag.
same time, like who, you're not going to say anything. Like,
Oh, definitely not, but I'm marking that
How
down
does
in
a
my head.
person correct that?
I don't even
You
know.
could go a long time with that and no one told you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Just keep mints with you at all times.
A red flag would be someone that dwells on the past and is judgmental, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I see that
For
towards
me.
other people.
Yeah.
Right? Like very judgmental towards other people.
I don't like that. It's very negative. I really don't like that. Yeah.
Now that you're thinking about it. So
Like, I don't like somebody that, like, if you're driving down the street and someone has a mess in their yard or it's not as neat as you would think it should be in your eyes, but you don't know what they're going through. You don't know if something is going on in their life that for that moment, their yard is a mess.
mm-hmm.
So don't judge them. Like, it's,
I get
you
that.
don't need to say something negative. You don't need to say, "Oh, look how messy they are." Look how, I mean,
100%.
you don't know if they just lost someone and they didn't have a chance to do the yard. Like, don't do that.
I think too, another red flag just off of the top of my head is like when you can tell someone's like using you, you know, and like whether that be, you know, for your body or for, you know, popularity or for friends or anything like that, it is definitely like a red flag. And I think that's something you should notice and like be recognizing whenever it happens, because even now for me, you know, like obviously dating now is 10 times different than it was when I was in Louisiana and, you know, just living there. And
So how would you say that your perspective on dating changed since being here in LA or being more known?
that's a good question. So I think it definitely has changed for sure, because, you know, now there are some people that just want to use me or like, you know, get something from me. Like they're just looking to gain something from talking to me or being with me or hanging out with me. So that definitely is something I am now well aware of. I, you know, take that into consideration and I'm like, you know, does this person actually care about me or actually like me for who I am? Or they just, you know, see a number and they're like attracted to that. And, you know, it's a very fine line because
Maybe
you
they
never
think you're
know.
passionate.
I agree. No, that's definitely a sense. But like I think a red flag would be in that situation, like constantly wanting to like take videos of you or post you or just, you know what I mean? And it's like someone that you just meet. So like that's kind of like in the initial dating stages, like you can kind of tell when people are just using you to like post or be like, hey, do this with me. Or like, I don't know. I feel like there are people that aren't afraid to like mess something up for you in sake of them. And, you know, and
Yeah,
I don't know what
but
I'm
I
trying to say.
also feel like sometimes you wouldn't be able to see the things that I could see, which is why my opinion sometimes matters and why you should be open to my opinion or my advice.
No,
on
for
a
sure.
person.
I think
Because love is blind,
yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah. With all the dating talk and all the love talk, I think it's really important to also say that, you know, like I said, I am not searching actively for a significant other in any way. And I think, you know, being alone and figuring out what you love to do is super important to do before you get in a relationship, because in a relationship, it can become really clouded and your vision and dreams and goals can become pushed down in a way, like to where you don't focus as much. At the end of the day, are you happy? Yes or no? And if you answer no, then you also have to make the choice if you're going to change that or not. End of the day, you are the only person that can give yourself self-love, and it's super important to love yourself and be happy without people. As much as you always want to put someone ahead of you, and it's amazing to. It's great to put other people's feelings and emotions before yours because you can always be helpful and loving. But at the end of the day, there needs to be a point when you also care about yourself and your mental health and focus on that. You can't constantly put other people's mental health and feelings above yours and never worry about yours, because then who's going to do it? So I think there has to be a point at the end of the day when you recognize that and look at your mental health and put that as a priority. And I think that just comes with understanding that it is important to make that choice and doing it. So love yourself so you don't have to rely on others to do that for you. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with hopefully another great episode.
You can find all episodes of Mama Knows Best for free exclusively on Spotify.
Don't forget to follow the podcast, and we'll bring you a brand new episode every week.
And if you like this show, follow @Parcast on Instagram and @Parcast Network on Twitter.
And if you guys have any questions or topics that you guys want us to talk about, you can tweet me @WhoIsAddison or find me on Instagram and DM me @AddisonRay with 2 E's at the end.
Or me @Sheri Nicole, that's 2 E's at the end, on Twitter, and @Sheri Easterling on Instagram.
Mama Knows Best is a Parcast Studios original. It is executive produced by Max Cutler. Sound designed by Kristen Acevedo. It's produced by Kristen Acevedo, John Cohen, and Jonathan Ratliff. Mama Knows Best stars Addison Ray and Sheri Nicole. Thank you guys again for listening. We love y'all so much. See you next time.